Up next, after Halloween Resurrection killed the series, Rob Zombie brought it back. Halloween, a Rob Zombie film. So I just wanted to let you know about my personal viewing history of the Halloween movies. This is the last movie I watched. And that's not to say that I didn't want to watch Halloween 2, Rob Zombie. I just never got around to it. This is the last Halloween movie I watched up until this year's, because I watched Halloween 2 as well, right? And I'm going to watch the 3 new movies. I'm going to start those today, right? So, but again, every other Halloween movie I've seen at least one time. I've seen the first one several times, but this is the last movie I've only, Halloween 2, and then the new ones I've never seen before. So these are going to be fresh. But Halloween, a Rob Zombie film, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, John Carpenter's Halloween, the first one and the second one, they're good movies, right? Especially of the era. They're different kinds of movies, right? It's like 30 or 40 minutes shorter, the first Halloween, than this Rob Zombie one. But I'm not going to lie to y'all. This movie may be my favorite out of all of the Halloween movies. It may be, I might like it more than the original. It's hard to tell. I mean, it's just so many different vibes, right? Like the original, it's the classic, it's iconic, it's more, less is explained in the original, it's shorter, right? So, I want to say the original is my favorite, but this one, Rob Zombie's Halloween, it really is. It's so good. It really is just so good. It really is. I was impressed. Now again, I like Rob Zombie movies. Earlier this year, I watched through the Firefly trilogy. I watched House of 1000 Corpses, Devil's Rejects, 3 from Hell. You can go watch those movie reviews on my channel. Just look them up. I'm a fan of those movies, and I've seen this movie before. I've seen it once before, around when it came out, so I was a lot younger at the time. And again, watching this again, especially in the context of marathoning all the films, this one is fucking great. It's great. So again, it's a remake, but it's also a reimagining. In the original Halloween, there's not much that's explained. Now, again, the original Halloween was supposed to be called, like, the Babysitter Murders or some shit. They didn't, and the theme of the movie is just some babysitters are getting fucked up by some crazy guy, right? There was not, they didn't bake into the original Halloween all of this lore. There was, like, Laurie Strode was not the sister, that she was just a random babysitter, and then they added that plot point in Halloween 2. Right? Halloween was a low-budget slasher movie without really any story, right? They don't even show how Michael Myers escapes, right? Like, it's just, he's there, right? And so, the thing I love about Rob Zombie's Halloween is it bakes in a lot of the stuff that we know from the series. Like, a lot of the lore that's been established from all the Halloween movies prior, a little bit of all of it is in here. So, one, you got Laurie Strode in this movie, who is baked in. We already know that that's the sister. We know that from the jump. It's not a surprise. It's not like it's, it pops up later on and then it's, So we know that. This movie also goes into exquisite detail of Michael Myers as a young kid. I think the first 35 to 40 minutes is young Michael Myers, right? So shit that was like a 3-minute flashback in the original is now like a giant chunk of the film. It is a major plot point of the film of how Michael Myers was as a kid. And I know a lot of people are critical of that, but I think that they did a fucking great job. I think that it's a little weird. They kind of make Michael Myers out at the start to be like the bullied kid who's like defending himself. But then, like, there is the slow transition from bullied kid defending yourself to, just crazy motherfucker. I think it's well defined. Some people may disagree. I've read people that say that they don't like how Michael Myers is a victim at the start of this movie. I think he starts as a victim and then turns into something more. That's a lot of how serial killer psychology works, too. Right? When you look at serial killer psychology, a lot of the times, right, you look at their childhood, They were bullied. Their parents abused them, right? They were beaten as kids. And so it makes sense, right? That, like, when you're a kid and you're exposed to violence from a young age, you could be the victim. And then a lot of people, they remain the victim. And, they try to heal from that trauma. But some people, they get the wrong lesson. Something in them, right? They snap and they become just like, the cycle of violence continues. And that's what this movie kind of showcases. So, I think Rob Zombie did a great job on the serial killer's psychology and going in depth to young Michael Myers. I think the child actor who played young Michael Myers did a great job. I think, I'm not gonna lie, Sherry Moon Zombie, who almost all the time is just like, I don't want to say that she's bad at acting, but this might be the best movie she's ever been in. She did a really good job. Now, again, Rob Zombie always puts her in every movie. I'm going to be talking about that in Halloween 2 in a second here, right? But she did a great job as the Michael Myers mom. And, like, the way that she played the mother of Michael Myers was great. Because she came home from work to find, Michael covered in blood. And then, like, she was told that Michael Myers had killed her whole family. Right, and then Michael is in the facility, but she never saw it happen, right? Like, she didn't see it happen, and it's shown that Michael Myers claims, like, he didn't do any of that. He doesn't know how it happened, right? That's what his story is for the first couple of months and, like, maybe a year or two of being in the mental health care facility. Sam Loomis in this movie, they did a great job. Malcolm McDowell, of course, did a wonderful job as Loomis. Loomis in Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I'll talk about that later. But in Halloween, great fucking job. Excellent character. Excellent acting. The way that they aged him, excellent all across the board. They did a great job. Wonderful, wonderful acting. But anyway, so Michael Myers claims that he didn't do any of that. But then there's a moment where, like, later in the film, like, it becomes a routine that, Sherry Moon, a.k.a. whoever the mom is, I don't even know her name, is visiting him. And, it's like once a week. And then, he's wondering, when the fuck am I going to get out of here? And eventually Loomis is like, you're not going to get out of here. Like, this is going to be the rest of your life. So Michael Myers, like, after his mother leaves him, like, for a routine visit, some random nurse is in there, like, giving him food or something. I don't know what's going on. And he takes a fork and kills her. And then the mother of Michael Myers finally is confronted with what she's been in denial with. And again, Sherry Moon Zombie did a great fucking job playing that role. Because again, she went from, I can't believe this, I don't believe this, something must have happened, not my beautiful baby boy, right? And he's saying that. But then she actually sees, like, the blood all over him, the look in his eyes, like the dead body right there, right? She actually puts 2 and 2 together, and she realizes that, yeah, Michael Myers is a monster. And then the way that, like, they did the scene of her killing herself, watching, like, the old family footage, it was excellent, man. I gotta tell you, that was some real, like, again, the original Halloween is really good, but this movie is phenomenal. It's phenomenal. Rob Zombie's Halloween is fucking phenomenal. So then that's the origin story, right? And then, like, we see, like, Danny Trejo is, like, nice to him in the mental facility. And then he kills him anyway. Michael Myers, when he escapes 15 years later, kills him anyway. And that shows, like, that's supposed to signify that, like, there is no good in him, right? He's just pure evil. Like, he killed the guy who was nice to him for 15 years. Without any remorse, without any regret, without any hesitation. He just murdered him as soon as he became an obstacle. Right? So, and then, like, I love the scene when he kills that motherfucker in the bathroom. That, again, this is a great movie. And then, like, the scene where he goes back to the home to find the mask or whatever. Great movie. I mean, this is a great movie. So, and again, all of that not shown in the original Halloween. In the original Halloween, all we know is that Sam Loomis shows up, a bunch of freaks are, like, wandering around like a farmland, And then he's like, where's Michael Myers? And then, and then it's Laurie Strode's story from that point on, right? But Laurie Strode's story in this movie is really small. Like her role in the original Halloween is like most of the movie, right? But in this movie, her role is much smaller. And I like it. I like it that this movie was more about Michael Myers than about the other characters. And I think that that's interesting, right? Because if you're going to remake Halloween, where is the most fertile ground for a remake? It's in the origin story, right? Because they kind of told the origin story in the original Halloween over the course of the sequels, right? Like Halloween 2, they put more origin story in, and it's all like kind of added in after the fact. But baking it all into the same product, I think this movie is fantastic. If I were to recommend anyone see a Halloween movie, it's this one. The way that this movie also references and pays homage to the original is fucking incredible. Right? Like the scene replays where like Michael Myers is like hiding behind the tree and Laurie looks at him out the window, to like when he's hiding behind the bush. All the classic scenes are there and they're done well. One of my favorite moments in this movie is when Loomis saves Laurie Strode at the end, or like in the climactic area, right? He saves her, right, in a roundabout way. They're in the car, and then Laurie is like, was that the boogeyman? And then Loomis is like, I do believe it was, which is like one of the final lines of the original Halloween, like the first movie, 1978. That's one of the last lines of the movie, right? But then in this movie, it subverts the expectation, because then Michael Myers is still there. He like crashes his hand through the fucking car windows. They're about to drive away. And then there's like a whole 20 minutes left in the movie, right? And again, I just thought like the way that like it references the original, but then shakes it up. I thought this is an incredible remake. I mean, oftentimes remakes are not as good as the original. I mean, John Carpenter has his own remake that is better than the original. The Thing versus The Thing from Another World. Now, again, I don't know if I would say that this is better than the original, right? It's hard to compare them because they're so different. The way that they explore the story really is so different that it's hard to compare them. But this is one of those movies that is just extremely well done. Like, in the way that it handles the source material, from the things that it acknowledges to the things that it adds on to the things that it changes. The way, like, it's a great movie. Rob Zombie's Halloween, it may be my favorite of the Halloween movies. It really may be. Now, again, the original and this one, they're two totally different vibes, right? Like, the original it's the classic. Nothing beats a classic. It really is. It's like aging a fine wine or some shit, right? Like, the older a movie is, right? Like, it really, again, I know some people, might scoff at me saying this, but again, just something being old and being good, there's something about it. I don't know what else to say. Something about it. The original is the original. You can't beat the original Halloween. It really is just that good. But this one, as a remake, as Rob Zombie's own entry into the series, it's phenomenal. And then Rob Zombie made a Halloween 2, and I'll be jumping into that very shortly. But damn. Anyway, I got one more here. Hopefully y'all are enjoying this extended